Forgot to unmute the mic again. I'm late for the late show, for the post show, because I was jumped up at the last 2 seconds of my intro video and had to remove a fan because it gets really hot in here. So thanks guys for hanging out. It's good to have you here. I can see you guys in the chat. Some of you I've already commented to, but just to acknowledge you publicly here, I've got Doug in from Forced Online, and I have Stop and Think here. That is great to have you from South Carolina, Hank. I appreciate it. Bluffton, South Carolina, and I think all the audio should be good, and the video should be good. Let me know in the chat. Hello again from Tony. You notice I don't have any music playing in the background, but let me know if somehow I do, because I can't see any. But the post show is kind of a new invention for me. This has been going on now for a couple months almost. I think this is video 5 or 6. This is the first video I've ever monetized. So you probably saw some ads you had to skip coming in. Still not sure how I feel about that, even though last week in the post show and prior to that, we talked about it. Have not turned on super chat or super stickers yet, because I do want to put those on the screen, and I really need to finalize how I want to do that. Again, Aaron Preki made a little plugin for your web browser that makes it semi-simple. You still have to bring it into OBS, and you still have to bring it into a key and bring it on the screen, and I'm not sure exactly how I feel about that. So it's great to, your name's backwards, so I can't pronounce it, or I guess it's spelled in another language, but you have a big R as a logo. It says VUM today. So welcome to the live stream. It's good to have Practical IT, Jeremy Leek, again, with Jeremy Leek. Thank you so much for being back again. Okay, so cool. So it is Jeremy Like. So I will try to learn how to do that. Blame my German ancestors. Yeah, well, I'm actually from German ancestors, believe it or not. Now I'm probably a little bit diversified now, because my mother and her mom were from Texas, which some people say that's a country and a nationality on its own. But my great-grandmother and her husband came over with her parents from Germany way back. And so shout out to those of you that maybe have some German or some Texan in your bloodline. So no music is a beautiful thing. Yeah, and if that music, it hasn't been overplayed, I don't know what is. So, because it's in all of my videos, and if you're getting tired of it, maybe we will eventually change that. So again, tonight is the post show. Post show is designed to be a little bit more personal. I will tell you that Ratso will be back very soon. I've shared with you lots of things have been going on in our personal family world. But again, that doesn't change my commitment to this live streaming world. Sometimes some things have to be postponed and put on the back burner, and that is one of the things that need to be put back on the burner. I've had lots of consulting to do as well. Had a trip yesterday, so a lot of times on Monday I'll get some basic prep ready for the lives before the live so that I can be better prepared on Tuesday. It's nice to have your brain going and getting ready for a live, but it's also really important to have breaks during the day. And I literally get up in the morning on a Tuesday and spend most of the day preparing for a live stream and kind of getting my thoughts together so that I don't have to have a script and not kind of knowing where we're going and the direction we're going, and then making sure everything I can get to work. And you never know if it's going to work. Like right now, I'm looking at my Hyperdeck, and there's this giant still image on it, so I'm not sure if that just happened at the end of the video. I probably messed up the last still image in one of my videos tonight. But for whatever it's worth, what makes me smile? So let's just dive right in. I want to have some time for some Q&A. And again, that was from Conjoined Technology, the comment, not from Tony, about no music is a great thing. So I'll correct that. So again, hi, Tony, and hi, Vum. I can't pronounce your name, so I'm not going to try, but I appreciate you being here. Again, great to have Practical IT with Jeremy Like on tonight, and as well as Conjoined Technologies. And again, I want to talk about this topic because I believe that your face, right, translates. The feelings that you have inside are translated. It's almost like if you're playing a piano, and I'll try not to wax too eloquent tonight, but this is kind of one of my passions. If you're playing the piano, right, and each one of those hammers are hammering on a string at different sizes, and there's guys, and I've seen them do it. I've been there. I've had venues where I was responsible every so often to get the piano tuned, and you call one of these guys who tune pianos, and they come in with their equipment. They open up that grand piano or that baby grand piano. You don't need to do that with electric keyboards, but when you have a traditional piano, the stand-up kind or the grand type, you've got to tune each one of those strings, and when you hit that hammer or the key, it's going to play that string, and it resonates, and it makes a sound. It could be a C, it could be an E, it could be a sharp. Then you can make chords, and you can make beautiful music with a piano. But it's just an illustration tonight of what motivates you, what makes you smile, because when you smile, it translates. There's something subconscious that happens in you when you smile, when it's from your heart, and to others when you smile. So I wanted to talk about this tonight because if you're going to live stream or you're going to Zoom with someone, if you're going to use any of this technology, if you're going to go do a photo shoot, if you're going to work with clients in a venue like I did on Wednesday, sometimes I'm notorious for this. You get so caught up on solving the problem that you forget to smile. So what makes me smile? There's a lot of things that make me smile. I was going to share with you guys tonight one thing that makes me smile. So I watched recently, and I like to watch TV. It helps relax me. And I am kind of an old Star Wars buff. I watched it when I was a teenager, the very first Star Wars. I'll never forget the experience. It captured me, it caught me, and it makes me smile when I think of Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and Leia and Chewbacca and R2-D2 and C-3PO. And again, that's the Star Wars universe. That may not make you smile, but it makes me smile. And then recently, obviously, Disney did this series on The Mandalorian, and I wasn't really into The Mandalorian at all. To be honest with you, I have a Pez floating around up here somewhere. So I found this at a yard sale and grabbed it. And then I decided to go ahead and watch The Mandalorian. And I really did enjoy it. But I've always kind of been a Star Wars fan. And one of those characters, those obscure characters that always kind of caught my attention was Boba Fett. And so really when I was going on my rampage for 1966 Batman stuff, which obviously that's a memory from my childhood, I was trying to capture during the tough season that our family was going through, right? My father-in-law's health was waning, and I had a picture, yeah. So here's my father-in-law with three of my children. This is before Bryson was born. And always a part of our family, always active, a great man, a great leader, a great provider. My wife said, you know, my dad, I never ever worried one time because my dad was always going to take care of me. And I had big shoes to fill when I married her and Shannon and I started our life together. I met Shannon right about 40 years ago, right about this week. So we've been together for 40 years. We got married June after we met in February. So we got married pretty quick. I wasn't going to miss a good thing when I had the chance. And she said yes. So again, my father-in-law had an impact on my life. And so during those times, going through this time, and those of you that didn't know, I shared this 2 weeks ago, I believe, that my father-in-law passed away a couple Wednesdays ago. This Wednesday will be 3 weeks. It's flying by. And so we've gone through that and other things. I was just trying to capture some things that would make me smile. And one of the things that makes me smile are memories from my childhood. So 1966 Batman. And I've got the Batmobile up here, and I've showed that before. And I bought a bunch of Batman 1966 stuff that was available during the Christmas holiday here in the United States. And I saw this stuff, and I didn't really do anything then. But as I was thinking about it, I said, you know what? I want to collect some of this stuff. But one of the things I really wanted, I was excited about the new Boba Fett series, so I wanted a Boba Fett. I actually ordered one on Amazon, and it just never showed up. I did like many times what we do. It's only happened to me a couple times, but I kept getting this alert. It was shipped, but it never went anywhere. It never got here. So I finally went in and canceled the order, and I was out the other day and I stopped. Actually, it was yesterday, getting something for my wife for that special day. I was all day up in Spokane. So I wanted to stop on my way back, really focus in because we had a busy Super Bowl Sunday, and that was kind of a crazy day. And Monday, I was going to get up at 5 a.m. to get ready to leave to go to this trip. So I wanted to kind of focus when I got back into town, which was early afternoon, about 2:30ish. And I went in to find a nice card for her and find something that we could do together to celebrate this day, this week of what what we've had together. And that made me smile. And I was just walking through the electronics area, and I'm just trying to figure out, is there anything on my wife's radar that would just make her happy? And so I'm just going through the store. I went through the appliances. I went through the candy aisle. I went through electronics, which was probably more for me than her. And as I'm going through the different stores, there were some things, but nothing really caught my eye. And here was one left, Boba Fett. I've looked a bunch of times in the local stores here, and they never had a Boba Fett. But there was a Boba Fett, and then right above Boba Fett was Fennec Shand, and there they are. So I got them. They're not unboxed. I just wanted to share those with you. That's just one thing that makes me smile. And a number of weeks back, someone asked me what inspires me. And I shared how my inspiration a lot of times comes from people. Like tonight, if you were in the live show, one of the guys that I got a chance to work with, I really thoroughly enjoyed the relationship. I've known his family for a long time. I knew him as a teenager. Now he's an adult, very intelligent young man. Young because I'm 60 and he's quite a bit younger than me. Privileged to work with him. He showed up in the live stream tonight, and it made me smile in my heart. I'm letting you know, I've been going, how do I not focus on this one individual? And to know some of you guys and actually have had some Zoom conversations or have been on live streams with one of you in the past with another individual, Adam Tao, that makes me smile when I see you come on my live stream. So that's another thing that makes me smile, is seeing people join me. And sometimes that someone comes to my house, but what happens is inside you get this excitement or this happiness, because these type things have a way of making you happy. They fill that inner person. And happiness, in my opinion, is a state of mind. And we're not happy all the time. Things that happen in my life, like when my father-in-law passed away, I wasn't happy. I was happy that he wasn't in pain anymore. I was happy for my mother-in-law who had been taking care of him. I was happy that part of the misery was over, but at the same time, I was very, very sad, very, very broken for my family, for my mother-in-law, who lives next door. She's like a mom to me. My mom's been gone for many, 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 many years. And my dad's alive and remarried up in that same area that I went up to work on Monday. So again, happiness is kind of a state of mind. It's relative sometimes to the circumstance or situation we're in. But what I've learned is that happiness shines through and it makes you smile. You might smile at the person. You might smile at the audience because they mean something to you. You may smile about something you found, you've been hunting for. You programmed your brain to find that car or find that color or find that deal. Or you might be excited about something coming in the mail. Like I told you guys that last week. I told you earlier today that I have something coming tomorrow. It's actually the new light by Elgato. They have a new portable light that was released. I have it on order. It'll be here tomorrow. I'm going to do an unboxing of it. And the reason that I'm excited about that, I may not get super excited like I was with Boba Fett. I quit looking for it and there it was. But I am excited that it's a tool that people can use, and that will make me smile. In fact, as I'm doing that video, one of the things I'm going to be thinking about are the people that don't want to spend $200 on a key light by Elgato or $150 on a key light Air, and I'm going to have all three of those lights together in my video. I want people to see what a $200 light looks like, what a $150 light looks like, and what $100, because it's $100 US to buy this new light. It's the first light that Elgato's come out with that you can control from the Stream Deck that's also battery powered. It's the first one with a magnet in it, so you can stick it on things. It's a nice size light, and I'll actually bring it on next week's live show and talk about the video as well as the unit. But that will make me smile, especially if it's the perfect thing for someone in their circumstance or their situation, and they go, Keith, what light can I get for $100 that will be portable, that I could put on top of my camera, I could use in my live streams, that's not super contrasty, create dark shadows, it's got some good diffusion on it, and I'm a firm believer that the lights that are side LEDs into filters by Elgato are really good soft lights for the size. And you can do a big softbox, which I recommend, or you can do on a desk, you could do like an Elgato key light. And I have a key light right there by Elgato. I have an Elgato key light up there. My son has a Elgato key light Air, which is half as bright. It's about 1,000 lumens, where these are 2,000 lumens. And the new light is 800 lumens that's coming out from Elgato, and you can control it with the Stream Deck. So if I have it in the back of the room, I can turn it on and off right from my Stream Deck, and I like that. I might use it as a hair light. I haven't decided yet how I'm going to use it. Right now, I'm actually using a UL 150 by Godox up there. I have the barn doors on it. I have half the light cut, so it just shines on the back of me, and it's just better positioned to be a key light than this light that is right over here. I'm using it as kind of a fill light. And again, lighting is important, and even having good light and a good picture sometimes is going to make you happy. It's going to make you more excited about your live stream. To give you a perfect example of this, go and watch John Barker's first live stream from his new studio. He moved from his little tiny house to a rental place, and he has 2 rooms in this kind of rental hotel of office spaces, and he even talked about it in his live stream. It was great. Great experience to see him go from his little tiny house live streams. He's the guy that designed H2R Graphics. He's really into that stuff. He's a great trainer, great teacher on his channel, has a great following. But even he was struggling with the new lights in his new studio. And in the middle of his live stream, he turned off what he could not remember at the time. It's a lantern softbox that you can put on almost all the lights, and the light shines everywhere. So that light was overcoming his color lights, LEDs on his back wall. It was just too much light in that space, which was right behind him, because he wanted to show his other table view, his downward camera, and talk about that view as well. And so he had a nice light on him, and then he had this lantern light behind him. And when he turns that light off, it made me smile. And I'm sure it made him smile. In fact, he kept saying, I didn't think it was going to make, the picture was going to get that much better. But now that he turned that light off, it was huge, and people were complimenting him. So what makes you smile? What makes me smile are people. They inspire me. Getting a relationship with them, seeing them when I haven't seen them in a while, learning from them. I even shared with a friend today on the phone who called me. I shared with him, I said, I even like those people that will say the things that most other people in your circle won't say, because you need someone around that can see your blind spots, are going to tell you, hey, Keith, your mic is muted. Or, hey, Keith, your music is playing in the background. I mean, you need people that are going to be in your world, that are going to be willing to tell you the tough things and the hard things. And it makes me smile when people shy away from those tough people, because I think they're great. I'll never forget my mother-in-law, Shannon's mom, is very vocal, right? She's the kind of person that she'll say what she thinks. And it can be very intimidating when you're a young married son-in-law. But over the years, you know, I've almost said, you know, my mom, Shannon's mom, I call her mom. My mom is like one of those arrows that you pull out. And if you watch the new series again on Disney, and this is not promoted, this is not sponsored, but if you watch the Hawkeye series, you know, there's a single episode where they make all these arrows with different tips on them, some crazy stuff. Even a tip that shrunk a van in the middle of the air and made me laugh out loud. And so my mother-in-law is like one of those people that I've always thought she's the perfect arrow to fire in a situation where someone in the room just needs to say what needs to be said. And sometimes I have too much diplomacy. Sometimes I care too much what other people's feelings are, which is never necessarily a bad thing. but sometimes you just need that one person that is going to say it. And I love having those people around my life. In fact, my mom and I joke around all the time about things that we both have said to each other that no one else would probably say to each other. And so I respect that and I appreciate about that. And to me, that's one of the things that gives in my world, great value, because I don't have to wonder what mom thinks. She's going to tell me. And if I ask her, she's not going to hesitate. She's going to let me have it. Hopefully I have some armor on if it's too harsh or too hard. But again, that makes me smile. A couple other things I wanted to share that make me smile, and that's just that time reconnecting with people. I already said that people inspire me because they have a different perspective, and I like hearing their view. I like to see things, try to see things from their perspective. But I also like that thing that happens that connects you. And I'm just saying in tonight's live stream post-show, and I'll get off my soapbox here in a second, is that when you smile at your audience or you smile at your camera and it comes from your heart, I was even thinking to myself, you know, it's a lot of work to do a live stream. And you wonder, what do I get in return, right? Well, you get the satisfaction that you did it. You have this interaction with the audience. There's all these things that sometimes you just need to stop and think about and you need to appreciate, so that all of a sudden, right, you realize that there's things in this I thoroughly enjoy, and there's people I'm looking forward to see. In fact, I've even said this, that when you walk in your school when you were a teenager, or you walk in your workplace if you still work in a workplace, or you go to a same place you've had your hair cut before, you walk in there and there's people that you look for, or a venue that you go to. Maybe there is a local establishment you frequent, a coffee shop, wherever, right? And there's people there that are return people that are there a lot, like a live stream, and you see them, right? And for some reason, they're like a dot that's connected, you know, like a live stream for me. Now, after all this time, there's people that I just look for, and I'm excited. Even if they're here before we even go live on the camera, it makes me smile because of that connection, and they begin to become a dot that we connect in our world. And you really know that they're important to you when they don't show up, and you're like, oh, I'm disappointed, right? Because in my mind, I had an appointment to see so-and-so. I thought they were going to be there, and now they're not there. So what makes you smile? Because a smile is like a string on a guitar, and if it's in tune and you hit it, it could be music. It could impact the people on the other side of the camera. And yeah, we don't spend maybe as much time with people as we did prior to what the last couple of years has dealt us. But in reality, we still are resonating with people in a live stream or in a chat, right? What we say and how we say it, even as we type it in a chat, can make a difference. And if we're in a Zoom call, for sure, they see our face. If we're bored and we're on our phone and you're sitting in a room with a bunch of people that are on their phone, they're distracted and they're not engaged with you, it makes an impact. And so your smile on your face can brighten someone's day. Anytime I took a picture with an employee, I always try to smile. In fact, I think if I did this right, I dropped this in tonight. Yeah, I did. So here's a picture I took with my iPhone right outside of the booth at the back of the venue auditorium with Zach yesterday, and I'm excited. He smiled. I looked at him and said, now, don't you not smile, man. I want to share this picture with the people from my live stream. And I never knew Zach before this. I know other people in his building. We have history together. I knew people that were recently added to their team that we had a relationship with together. But this is the first time in the last month I met this individual, and I'm enjoying the relationship. And he's on the front lines there, responsible for that venue, making sure that the live stream goes out. And I respect that. I appreciate that. I can feel his pain when things weren't in sync and the lips were off. So for whatever it said, and believe it or not, little things like this, right? This is basically a white balance card. It has a white side. If you want to do a traditional white balance, what does the light right now next to my face look? When you're balancing the light for your camera has to try to figure out what neutral gray looks like. So if the lights are on, so I'll turn this light off, it's going to decide what gray is. It's making the decision right now. It's making adjustments, and it's adjusting the color. And obviously, the exposure is changing. I set auto ISO tonight on purpose because I wanted that dramatic light change. A lot of times I will get my light meter out. It's right here, buried. Sorry about that, Boba Fett. So I got my light meter. We talked about it last week, and I can check the light, and I can set my ISO at a setting. I can set my lens at a setting, my shutter speed at a setting, and I can get the perfect exposure. But I can't get necessarily perfect white balance unless I let my camera know what neutral gray looks like. And so I can hold it like this. I am recording right now, ISO recording. So I can take this clip. I can even put it right in front of me and let it take all the light. And I can just take this now, and I could go back and take this recorded video, and I can check my white balance. That makes me smile. Also, it makes me smile is because I don't even know if my white balance is right unless I have some tool to check it. We just assume the camera can get light balance. What makes me smile is that this big thing folds up like this. Reminds me of those things we'd pop out and open up for our kids, or those little worm type things I used to crawl through with my kids when they were little. And that can fold up like this, and then somewhere around here, I lost it, is a little zipper bag this size, and that's a lot easier to get in a backpack or get in a toolkit or stick in a drawer here in the studio than that. But these little tools like this, learning how to use them, helping other people use them, little things like that make me smile. And I hope that when I do smile, it does come across as a sweet sound, and it makes you want to be on the live streams with me. It makes these videos more interesting because you genuinely know I'm excited that you're here. And if you're watching this video after it was live and you weren't in the live chat, that doesn't change my excitement. When you look down and see the subscriber count grow and you ask yourself, and some people want 1,000 subscribers so they can monetize your channel. And I get that. And that was my goal as well. But what I wrestled with as I crossed 1,000 is all of these people, right? They're all important people. They're all part of this YouTube journey together. They may have watched 5 seconds of a video and decided to subscribe, or 50 videos. Who knows? But until you get an opportunity to meet them, how you portray yourself and how you smile and what makes you smile, people can see it. They can tell that 1966 Batman made me smile. That's a moment in my childhood. I'm thinking about my mother-in-law telling people exactly what she thinks. Sometimes, I mean, it's just so exciting as long as no one gets hurt in the meantime. Or my father-in-law and thinking about him and watching football with him. Even Sunday, not watching the Super Bowl with him. All of those things, they impact you. I had to stop and remind myself that as those jets flew over that stadium and that plane flew over that stadium after the national anthem, all I could think of, that's my father-in-law flying that plane, because that was his passion, and it made me smile. You know, hope you're up there, Dad, flying over our house as we watch the Super Bowl and maybe flying through the room. And again, that's all things that just how my brain thinks, and I hope you can appreciate that and respect that, because I miss him, and my wife misses him, and I do not want to forget the joy of that relationship and the impact that he's had in my life. So I'm done talking. Let's answer questions. If you have any, or if you have a comment about what makes you smile. There's more things that make me smile, but we're running out of time, and I want to give you guys a chance to comment or respond to that. And or maybe you wanted to know more about the Elgato key light that's coming. I think it's called the Mini, and you can check that out. I will have a video on my channel before next Tuesday's live, and then I'll also bring it on the live show next week, and maybe in the post show we'll turn it on and off so you guys can see it controlled by the Elgato key light. And that's what I did. I shut these lights on and off by using my Elgato key light. And obviously, if you have auto ISO on your camera, it's going to adjust the exposure for the light that's in the room. So, okay, I'm gonna get a drink. I'm gonna look at the chat. hopefully I haven't missed something like you have hair hanging out of your eyeball. So let's go back here and just look. I'm going all the way back to the beginning. Thank you, Forced Online, Doug, for being with me and coming early, as well as you, Craig. Great to see you guys. Great to see Tony. Again, great to see Conjoining Technologies. Stop and Think. Again, to see you, Mr. Like, not Leak, as well. And Cutler, again, having you here in the post show is great as well. And that, again, makes me smile. I was talking about you earlier. So, again, if you have a question or a comment, Conjoining Technology says, I'm looking forward to seeing that light. So am I. I have my MC lights. In fact, if you look back on the shelf, they're on right now. And I could go into my phone app, but I'm monitoring the chat. So I use my phone and I use an app to be able to control those Aperture MC lights, and they're battery operated with magnets, and I have them stacked on the shelf back there. The Boba Fett shelf is empty right now. Let's run those guys back. So obviously lights are great, especially if you're doing a shoot. You just need a little bit more light. Cutler and I had the opportunity to use a big scrim that I actually have in my studio tour video. We used it to cut light on top of an SUV when we shot a commercial because the sun was so bright. So we used it to stop the light down and give nice soft light on the couple that was inside the SUV. I'm hiding in the back with I was in charge of audio and Cutler was shooting video. So we actually did video production a time together. So again, light is important, and having that portable light is going to be important too. Who knows how we'll use it. Sometimes you have to cut light down, soften light. Sometimes you have to get rid of hard light, close windows, or cover light, black out a window, and then add light to a window back. And you see that in all of the cool new Aperture videos that are available on YouTube. They talk about how you can grip lights and get lights ready for shoots. And the lights in your studio, even for your Zoom meetings, are super important because they create depth. They put you in focus, and they're very important. So I totally agree. I'm looking forward to that light. Well, Conjoining Technology says, I hope someday I will be able to find happiness in the little things like you do. Let me address that real quick, right? If you and I were together, what I would say to you, just you and I'd say, what motivates you? What makes you get excited? Is there something in your world right now that you look forward to? One of the things that I learned when I was training leaders back when I was a younger man, I would take volunteers and train them, and we would do some incredible things with volunteers. But one of the things I learned early is that we need to figure out, number one, what keeps them awake at night? What's their passion? If we started a conversation and I brought up the 1966 Batmobile, if you weren't interested at all, I could tell right away that you're just not interested. But if I asked you and said, what is it that you like talking about? What is it that gets you motivated? And you would stay up late one night with a friend, someone that will listen to you, and you would just talk to them about that stuff. That is one of the keys that you can use to find those things that make you smile. The little things that you would talk about that you're passionate about. Because if you can focus in on your passions and you can vamp there for a while, which is just a fancy word for saying sit there for a while, if it's at a lakeside, if it's with a fishing pole, right? Whatever it might be. With me, it's shooting photography. It's doing live streaming. That's just some of my world. There's a picture in the still image tonight of a person that I worked with for years and years and years. Her name is Cheryl. And when I was with Cheryl, or I talk to Cheryl, or we text back and forth and send funny pictures back and forth, it makes me smile. It's little things like that. And if Cheryl was on the live stream tonight, you would watch my face light up, just like it lit up in the live show when I saw Cutler for the first time in one of my live streams. So those little things that get you motivated that gets you talking. Sometimes those are the things that we need to vamp on. Just sit there for a while and ask yourself, what is it about sitting on a dock, listening to the water, by a stream, driving my convertible, whatever it is, flying a kite, whatever those things are, eating. I love Mongolian food. If you knew me personally, you would know that that makes me smile. I can't even drive by the Mongolian restaurant without it impacting me. It may be a sickness, it may be a personal issue, but it makes me smile. In fact, there is a restaurant up in Coeur d'Alene that serves Mongolian food that I went to, and it's not the same as what we have down here. And I was very disappointed they didn't have the hot sauce and all of the stuff that we have here in my local area, and that didn't make me smile. So again, guys, I hope that helps you a little bit, cajoling. So tough people, question mark, I feel attacked. Yeah, I know, especially if you have a live stream and lots of people on it. Like there's guys that have had like 1,600, 1 million subscribers. There's people that can pop through a live stream. That's why I have subscriber only set, because you have less issues with people trolling your live streams and saying negative things. And so again, there are those people. Our local Fred Meyer recently, just in the last week, someone went in there with a shopping cart. They have it on camera, killed 2 people that work there, and the whole Fred Meyer is now roped off right here. We drove by it this last week, and they're not doing business at all. The only thing on that piece of property that's doing business is the McDonald's on one end, a gas station that's self-pump on the other, on the same end, and the other end is a little taco Mexican fast food restaurant. They're open, but the rest of that block is taped off because they're trying to go through right now and figure out what they're going to do. So again, there's things in our life that aren't necessarily positive. That's why it's so important that we stop and find something, little things that make us smile. Like it might just be you need to just take a video of your bobblehead and watch it back. Or maybe you need to hug a grandchild. And I had a still image of my grandson in my still image tonight, a picture of him, because it makes me smile. He's a little terror, man. He's just constantly moving, and he loves his papa. And one day he said that to me, and it melted my heart. So I don't know what it is that makes you smile, but man, my hope is tonight that you find those little things. So, gotta head out. This is from Cutler. Great production. You're great here. Hope to see you soon. Yes, Cutler, if you watch this back or you're still on, I look forward to seeing you soon, very soon. So also on here, Kevin Crawley. Good to see you, Kevin. This is what I look forward to. It's the one thing I do for myself. I get to hang out with people who share the same interests. Yeah, Kevin, how can you not get excited when there's someone that can speak your language? And I do feel bad if you've been watching this live stream or you're watching it later after it was live and you don't understand the words I'm using, you don't know anything about white balance. Man, it bothers me deeply because I want to communicate in a way that you'll feel like Kevin feels, that he looks forward to this. And so that's why some of my videos, I want to break things down to be simple. I don't want to assume anybody knows how to turn a JPEG into a PNG file, because not everyone knows. And I want that to be something that people can discover here on my channel. And I probably need to do just an upload video of that, so it's easier for people to find, not just sorting through chapter markers in a live stream. So again, guys, I appreciate the feedback in the comments. Ratso makes me smile. Yeah, Ratso makes me smile. And you saw my old dummy head. If you look at the still image again, let me put the still image up on the screen, quit talking about it. So my face is gone. There's the still image. So in that picture, I picked out some things that make me smile. So my studio makes me smile. And so there's one picture of me in my studio. There's one picture next to my good friend, Cheryl Edwards. She's retired now, and I've retired from selling. My grandson, the look sometimes I'll take for my friends and send them, make me smile. My son having that idea in common. There he is with 3 monitors as a gamer. That makes me smile. The sign in our local mercantile made me smile, because sometimes we don't know which direction to go. My old dummy, which I sold to a man here about 50 miles away, I had his head out and took these pictures for my ad. That picture right there makes me smile. So there's lots of things in our life that can add to, oh, what happened? Holy cow. Sorry about that. I cut to my outro video by mistake. Let me fix that still image. So what I did is I dragged that still image from my media player, and that still image takes up the whole screen. And I was thinking I could cut back to my camera view, but unless I use a macro, I can't. So I literally just played my intro video. So again, I just dropped in my lower thirds and I'm back with my picture available to you to see. I was hidden behind that still image. I was still there, but I was hidden behind that giant still image, where this one you can see me. So, okay, so let me see. Very hard for me to find things that make me smile these days. Man, my heart goes out to you so much. And if you're okay with that, I'm going to say a prayer for you. And someday let's have a Zoom call. I'd love to have a Zoom call with you face to face, and maybe I can encourage you. Let's see, Ratso makes me smile, so maybe I'll get Ratso out. I'll open the case. I'll show you Grandpa Jones. Give me an opportunity. Take advantage of that free hour, and I will see if I can't have a great conversation with. We'll get acquainted, and you can share with me what excites you about what you're doing. Forced Online, Ratso is made of smiles. Yeah, Ratso was designed specifically to make me smile and make other people smile. And I still can't look at him, even though I'm the ventriloquist, right? This arm is in Ratso, and I'm doing all of that. I've even talked with my hand live before. And this is a great way to practice when you have a few minutes. Imagine Ratso's face, but having him on my arm right here next to me, looking at me and me looking back, sometimes it's cracked me up in live performances before. Same with Grandpa Jones, same with my other ventriloquist puppets that I've had in the past. So I totally agree with that. So awesome. Hopefully I'm not missing anything. Cutler said he's got to go. Tough people, question mark. Let's see. How do you avoid focusing on the negative thoughts? I'm going to answer that here in a second. So so there's this principle, we've all heard it, right? Glass half empty, glass half full. So we do know that if you have a glass, and here I have my cup, and it's right now about, and I didn't plan this, it's about half full, right? So I could say it's half full, or it's half empty. And even those two statements, people say they have a different kind of thought to them. If you sat there and you thought about half empty, half empty, half empty. Yeah, half full, half full. Well, I don't know. There's just something about those two words. And if you could choose one over the other and answer the question why, that may be the beginning of you being able to start focusing on the positive. Because when things hit you, right, and all the negative that's going on, I even, again, talked with a friend today and we were talking about it. It's almost like right now, there's a band of not so merry people, and their agenda is to get us to focus on all of the negative, and then people get negative, and then they want to hang out with negative people. And the next thing you know, it's like you have this, it's like an orchestra not playing together. It's like this jumbled mess. And I get it. It's all around us. It's real people, real problems, real frustrations. I get it. There's nothing wrong with having problems and frustrations, but if it's all we focus on, and if we can't see the light in the midst of all of that, let's use the word darkness, then we're in trouble. So you have to really kind of look at your heart and ask yourself what you're meditating on. There's this trainer that I listened to when I was selling RVs, and he said that you got to set goals with emotion. So if you're going to set a goal to do a live stream at 4 o'clock on Tuesdays, you better have some emotion attached to it, some excitement. There better be some good feeling. If you're not careful, then all you'll think about is the mistakes you've made. And I made 11 I shared last week, 10 plus a bonus. I made one tonight by having the music on, even in the middle of the first part of my live stream. Even though people could still hear me, it was still playing in the background. That wasn't my plan. So I could focus on all of those 11 mistakes. And some people could relate to that, right? They could relate with the list of errors. And that's kind of a comfortable conversation with people. What I need to do is probably do a post show about the 10 things I did right in my live stream, because that would be then focusing on the positive. And believe it or not, a still image saying the 10 things I did right, and then another still image saying the 10 things I did wrong. Believe it or not, the culture that we're in today, out of those two images, you would have to poll people to find out. But my inclination would be that the 10 things I did wrong, the fact that I would admit that, might draw more people to that live stream than the 10 things I did right. Because in some people's mind, that could be kind of arrogant. What is the motivation? What's the point? What's Keith going to talk about? But if I did 10 things I did right, it would be to encourage other people that you can't just focus on the negative. You got to focus on the positive. My point of last week's live stream post show was, I have a plan to fix those things. I don't want to experience that pain anymore. So the positive bent on that is that I had a plan for every single one. The last thing I say to myself now before I go live is, Keith, did you unmute your mic? That's just one thing. And I did that in my post show. Doug had the guts to say that he thought I planned it. Doug, I did not plan it. That was an accident. I literally was talking about the 10 mistakes that I make, and my number one mistake was not unmuting your mic or bad audio, and I made that mistake in the show that I was going to talk about the mistakes. And it's a perfect storm, right? It's a perfect illustration of how bad that is when you leave the music on or you don't unmute your mic. Even at the beginning of my show tonight, for a few seconds, I had my mic muted still when we went live, but I asked that question. So I have a plan of attack to deal with the negative things that have been happening in my live streams, but I can't control them. And so I'm going to try to let it make me smile and keep me on my toes and learning. And to be honest with you guys, the reason I haven't done Super Chat is because I'm not ready to add one more thing, and that's putting people's chats on the screen. I'm just not there yet with the technology here in the studio. And when I get there, I will be popping up Super Chats, probably predominantly Super Chats, and those things need to be shared online. That's kind of the etiquette. And so, if they ask a question or they just say hi or they just say great show, whatever they say, I just want to acknowledge that and pop it on the screen, but I'm just not ready. And so the positive side of that is I get to control when I enable that. And I would rather do it when I'm ready and it's going to be a happy thought and it's going to make me smile than when it's not going to. So sometimes you just have to give yourself a break so that you can get past the negative. So, okay, good stuff, Keith. Waking up and being thankful for another day and having those around you that I love. This is coming from Tony at Quick Tech Solutions. Along with doing nice things for others makes me smile. Thank you for sharing that, Tony. That's awesome. Man, that warms my heart. Ratso works for me, Kevin says. So yeah, I will, guys, I promise. Ratso still has to have a little bit of minor surgery. And I ended up cleaning the garage up for my live behind the scenes show for 1,000 subscribers. And it just set me back a while, plus the things that have happened. I'll get Ratso back in here soon. I want you guys to meet Grandpa Jones too in the post show. So I really look forward to Tuesday evenings. This is coming from Craig, watching you show and hearing about your experience in streaming and media production. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're enjoying this. I have other live streamers like that I really enjoy tuning into. And some of them conflict with other things I'm doing. So I'm frustrated because I don't get to tune into them because I got something else going in my life. And I'm glad that you have a good experience here. So let's see. Mr. Likes, so it becomes 10 things I could do different or better. Yeah, I probably should go back and change the title of that. And I probably, after this conversation this week, even I may have approached this differently, right? That's what's so great about the conversation. That's what's so great about perspective that we get when we talk about something together. And this isn't quite the same as having coffee with you, but look what's happening. There's an exchange going on. Something is taking place, and hopefully that makes me smile, and hopefully that makes you smile. So I almost missed that comment, and that's not good. The music is haunted. That's hilarious. I really, yeah, when it shows up on its own, kind of a haunting. Let's see. Kevin Crawley at Controlling Technologies. Your comments are always positive and constructive. Tony, as well, from Quick Tech. I have seen you on other streams for other people. You guys are great. Yeah, I got the chance to be on one stream, other than there's some interviews that I've done on my channel, like I did the one with Grace, who's one of my clients. She does a home care business. Her group was taking care of my father-in-law before he passed away. So I interviewed her. I'm helping her with her business, helping her learn content and stuff like that. I don't do a lot of that with clients, but I am doing that for her because she did such an important thing for our family. And I've been on interviews with her. I've been in my wife's podcast. And again, I know that my presence in my wife's podcast, if I play my role right, even off camera, only on microphone, makes a difference. And if I think that there's something funny that was getting passed by, I may stop in the middle of the podcast and say, what did you just say? That's hilarious, because we want people to enjoy the moment. And that's what you can do when you're together, is learn to enjoy the moment. Okay, so great comments to Tony and I. We appreciate that very much, Kevin. That was beautiful. Shucks. Oh, shucks. Controlling Technology. Quick Tech says, and you can read the chat as well. I'm just going to acknowledge it. Thanks so much. Joe and I do have fun when we stream together. So again, I know Tony has been on with Joe, and I've seen some of those streams. So again, guys, that's the stream for tonight. What makes me smile? Boba Fett made me smile. My wife getting home from a birth today. She is a midwife, and so she had to leave in the middle of the night to go to do a birth. And so getting home today and seeing her makes me smile. Getting home from my trip and seeing her on Valentine's Day makes me smile. Seeing her open my card and read it and the personal things that I wrote to her in the card. And then what I decided to get for her, and I'll share that with you guys, I decided to get us both dinner together to celebrate the 40 years at a local restaurant that we both really, really love called Olive Garden. It's an Italian restaurant. We love it, have loved it for years, and celebrate 40 years together. I met her about 40 years ago, married not long after that in June, and she's been a part of my life, and I've had to invest in that and vice versa, and I learn a lot from her all the time because of the impact and the influence that she has in my life, because she has my ear. Because of my relationship with her, and we live in this house together. So that's important. So again, guys, yeah, I am a romantic. Tony is a romantic, I think. Again, whatever my personality is, that doesn't say that you have to be like me, right? The other thing that I taught leaders is that you got to find your leadership style. You got to find what you are good at. And those are the things that really we need to emphasize in each other. So if you're all about IT, like Tony's channel is about internet technology, networking and all that stuff, is actually a part of his business as well, then if that's your passion, that's great. I love that. I want to share that with you. I may not even understand all the language that Tony uses on his channel, but I'm fascinated by it. I do know a little bit about IT. I've installed systems. I picked a system for my house that Tony, way before I met Tony, he would totally approve of the Unify system. I don't know it that well, but I knew about it, and I have a close friend of mine that we met through internet here in this new house 3 years ago when we moved in, and we're friends now because he's an IT guy, and we met because he was working on my IT, and we just have a lot in common, and I know and understand where he's coming from. And I think he appreciates that. And I respect him as an individual. And that's kind of a cool thing. I even texted him yesterday on my way to Spokane because I thought I might have an IT question, and he would be the first person in my local world right here that I would call and have drive up there to help me if they're actually having a IT problem. So again, that's all on that. Great questions, Joe. My daughter recently asked me the same question, and I really don't know. So what is the difference between a midwife and a doula? Okay. Wow. Great question. Are you guys ready for this? A doula is a educated support person for women. So they know how the birth process is going to go. If you've never, like if you're a husband and you've never gone through a birth with your wife, you don't want a home birth, right? Which is what my wife specializes. You're going to go to a hospital. You feel more confident, comfortable with that. Totally cool. We get that. It's not a great percentage of people that do home births, but there are people out there, and that's what my wife specializes in, because we have lots of hospitals around us where you can go have a regular birth. And we even did a podcast about a new birth center that's opening up. So if you want to have a birth at a birth center and go to a physical location, not your house, you can do that. A doula would be a trained person to go and be your support. So if you didn't know what to do or what to say to your wife, you could hire a doula to be there. Now, they're not a midwife. They're not going to birth the baby. If you have a home birth, you can have a doula and a midwife there. A midwife is kind of a worldwide concept. These are trained people to go to your house and help you have a baby. Back in the Old West, they use midwives. There's countries in the world that still use midwives predominantly, not hospitals. Then there's people like us in the United States of America, where I live, that I was born in a hospital. My first child was born in a hospital. My second child was born in a hospital. My third child and my second child were born in a hospital, in kind of a birthing room in the hospital. My last child was born at home with a midwife, a certified, licensed midwife, and that's what my wife is, and she knows the whole process. My wife has done literally, I think she said recently, over 700 births she's been a part of. What happens if something goes wrong? You transport them to the hospital. You don't take clients that have issues that need to be dealt with. The best place for them to be at a hospital. But if they have a great experience, have had a great experience, and are eligible for a home birth, you can be a midwife at a hospital. There are midwives that practice at a hospital. And the big difference is midwives are going to be more a part of all of the birth process, from pregnancy all the way through to postpartum. Midwives are a part of that, where you might go to a physician, a home, like a different doctor for your child after the birth. You might go to a different doctor before, when you're pregnant. You may have someone at the hospital that does your birth. It might not even be your main doctor because he's gone on vacation. A midwife is going to kind of be there from the beginning to the end, and occasionally they have a backup person or a backup plan if something happens, and we have that as well. And then we have assistant midwives that are learning or growing that go to be with my wife as well. So my wife has been at a birth with an assistant, right? A midwife in training, and she's been at a birth with a doula. And a doula just simply is a very well-educated, been through it, works there, supports that woman. And if she doesn't have a husband, she's having a baby outside of marriage, or a teenager, could hire a doula that got pregnant and is going through a birth. Or you could just hire, as a couple, a doula to be there to be extra support for the wife. That's it. I'm not going to talk about midwifery or doulas or midwives anymore in my live stream post show. But that's an appropriate question because of it's in my world in the post show. So thank you so much. And there you go. A doula and a midwife have similar knowledge. A midwife is just all in, going to take over the whole birthing process, birth to baby, take care of all of the stuff before and after, even the postpartum appointments, all the tests, the birth certificate, all that stuff. And a doula is just going to be there as an educated, well-versed in birthing process support person, and really in tune to your wife as she has the baby, to maybe help you out. And if it's your third birth, you may know what to do, but if it's your first birth, you may know nothing. So, okay, so that's awesome. What will be the theme of your channel? That's for Kevin Crawley. So it says, I'm learning from you. So yeah, Kevin, what is going to be the theme of your channel if you start podcasting? Or maybe, Tony, that was intended. Oh, it says at Kevin Crawley. So Kevin, what is the theme of your live stream going to be? And thank you, Tony, for that response to me answering that question. So again, my wife's podcast talks more about that whole thing. We even did an interview and talked about the doula role and explained all that on my wife's More About Birth podcast. So if you search YouTube, Shannon Bennett, 2 N's, right? And Shannon, actually 2 N's in the middle and an N at the end. And Shannon Bennett is 2 N's and 2 T's. More About Birth. So Shannon Bennett, More About Birth. You should find her podcast YouTube channel, and you can watch some of those podcasts. And you'll hear me in the background. Occasionally I appear on camera on YouTube. We also have an audio podcast called More About Birth out there as well. But it's Shannon's channel, so it's easiest to find her when you've never searched it before by typing in Shannon Bennett, More About Birth, and you shouldn't have any problem finding her in your browser in YouTube. So, okay, so we talked about Boba Fett and his partner. We talked about what makes me smile. We even talked about how to deal with that negative, positive thing. We even talked about a different title maybe for my live stream last week, though I can't go back in time and change that. But going forward, I definitely am going to consider that in my titles and my live show. So I hope this has encouraged you. I hope you realize that having you here live with me in the chat makes me smile. If you're listening to this live and you aren't a subscriber and you just paid attention, thank you as well. If you subscribe, you can join the chat. And so I hope someday you will do that. I hope you guys will come back again next week. We are going to talk about that new Elgato key light in the live show, and we'll probably have it in the post show as well. And hopefully I will have Ratso back with me for an appearance in the the post show next week. So make sure you tune into that. I won't tease you and not come through. I hope I'll have him repaired and ready to come back in live. And again, if you want to take advantage of that free 1-hour consult on Zoom, go to lifejourneyproductions.com, go to the contact page, fill that out, and let me know you'd like to do a Zoom conversation. And if you want to keep that 100% private, that no one will ever know that we had that Zoom conversation, that's perfectly fine with me. I have years of experience of keeping those kind of things confidential in my history. So thank you so much for joining me tonight in the live stream and the post show. Those of you that were in both, those of you that came on the post show, thank you so much. If you're listening to this after it went live, thank you so much. Again, this is my first ever monetized video. So I hope you are okay with that. And if not, I apologize. So until next week, I am Keith. This is Life Journey Production Studios, the post show. And I can't wait to see your smiling faces again next week. So get that happy thought, get it ready, and translate that in your chat next week when we get together live. Thank you for translating that tonight. And thank you for joining me here. I appreciate it very much. Until then, I'm Keith, and I'm out now. Got to find the outro. It's here somewhere. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo in MixEffects. Which one? Outro, live show. That's not it. Don't hit that button. This is harder with 2 shows. There it is. Outro, post show.